oldest competitions in Ghana, that is the FA Cup. And these days, it is MTN that is holding us down to bring you the MTN FA Cup final. Today, we'll be at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium for the finals, and it has been dubbed the Bono Showdown. We don't have the usual Heartful, the usual Asante Kotoko in the final. These days, the likes of Dreams FC have taken over. I remember Dreams FC going into the final last season where they took on the likes of King Faisal and won that. Dreams represented Ghana in the CAF Confederation Cup. And the winner of today's game between Nsoatreman and Bofoakwa Tano will also have the pleasure of representing Ghana in the CAF Confederation Cup. That is how serious and important this game is to both sides. Despite the fact that Bofoakwa Tano have been relegated from the Ghana Premier League and will be playing in the Division 1, they can have the opportunity of playing on the African continent, and that will be massive for the people of Sunyani. For Nsoatreman, they've had a good season. Eric Alali Dede, who is the general manager of Nsoatreman, and Maxwell Kunedu, ensuring that they finish fifth in the Ghana Premier League. They also have an opportunity of winning their first ever FA Cup title. And today, it all comes down at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. It's going to be a blockbuster, and that is why we are in the studios of Star Times at the Pachano 247 to bring you this exciting game from the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. And we are going to enjoy ourselves. Trust me on that. If I say we're going to enjoy ourselves, we are going to have a good time, because Nsoatreman plays some very good football. And with Bofoakwa Tano, despite all the troubles that they've gone throughout the season, they play an exciting football, especially under John Eduafo, who would be at the dugout to ensure that things go the way of the Bono Base Club. So let's see how this one goes. My name is Mutala Yakubu. I've been joined by two panelists here. My colleague Nana Edu is here, and of course Francis Aboibo Blackgate is also here, and you'll be hearing from both of them. It is a big one. No Kotoko, no Heartful. Francis, it is unusual. Today we have two teams who are completely new to the FA Cup finals. That is Nsoatreman and Bofoakwa Tano. But we are sure of having a good time.
Yeah, Mutala, we are sure of having a good time. You look at these two teams contrasting form in the league itself. But in the NTM FA Cup, both of them had 5 wins on the bounce to be able to get to the final. In their respective semi-finals at the Sugar Cup Rafa Park, Bofoakwa Tano played against Dreams FC in a game that they brought their A game on board, and one will question himself based on what they did on that afternoon as to how they were relegated from the league, because they played some fantastic stuff that afternoon in Sugar Cup. Then you look at the other finalists, Nsoatreman. Basically, they beat Legon City there by 2-1. And if you see how they managed the game, players like Umar Manaf and Co came to the party, and the gaffer of the side, Maxwell Konedu, managed the side properly in torrential rains at the Sugar Cup Rafa Park. So if you look at these two teams, based on what I have seen at the Sugar Cup Park, I think the two of them deserve to be in the final this evening at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. And if both of them will replicate same form or same kind of caliber of football that they played at the Sugar Cup Rafa Park in their respective semi-final games, then Mutala, I can tell you for a fact that this evening we are in for a blockbuster final. Of course, we are in for a good game. Naneju, we are used to seeing Heartful and Asante Kotoko usually in the final. I think Heartful won it twice on the bounce in 2021 and in 2022. But last season, it was Dreams FC. These two managers are completely new to the finals because they are handling Nsoatreman and Bofoakwa Tano. How would this one go?
Big game. And I would say is a Bono derby, because the two teams are coming from the Blonga half region, and they fought very hard to get to this final, starting from the round of 64 to 32, round of 16, 8, and of course semi-final. And now Nsoatreman, who were in the semi-final last season in the FA Cup, has been able to move a little bit forward to the final of this particular season in the FA Cup, and a relegated Bofoakwa Tano side also be moving into the final, just like Ken Faisal, who were relegated last season, who were able to make it into the final against Dreams FC. So I would say they deserve to be in the final, and as their slogan say, Ubia and Ubia. That is why in the last 2 seasons we are seeing teams aside Kotoko and Haas, Ebiana Start, Mediama, going to the FA Cup final, and of course one of them representing us in the interclub competition. They've done well, looking at how the season has gone by for all these teams in the Ghana Premier League. When you look at this particular season, it looks like most of the games we've witnessed, both in the Premier League and Division 1, has been much of equals, because of how some of these big clubs really prepared themselves for this particular season. So, Mekas will be instead of an extraordinary season. That is why we are seeing some of these teams in the MTN FA Cup, and I think Bofoakwa Tano and of course Nsoatreman deserve to be in the final.
So this is the form guide of Bofoakwa going into today's final. They started at the round of 64 where they beat Sudan Oxford by 3-0 before they won against Bekum City in the round of 32 by a lone goal. Then they followed up with a win in the round of 16 against Wa Power, and the round of 8, that is the quarter-final, saw them also beat draw 1-1 with Sky FC, and they won on penalties by 5-4. Then that semi-final game that was played at the Sogakope Wafa Park saw Bofoakwa Labour, and they managed to beat Dreams FC, who are the oldest, by 2-1. Francis, it's not easy eliminating the holders, and that would give Bofoakwa some needed confidence going into the game, knowing that they've kicked out Dreams FC, who won it last season.
Yeah, if you look at the semi-final, I will concentrate on the semi-final itself because I was there to produce the game from pitch side. You look at Bofoakwa that afternoon, they came into the game fully focused, determined, they had the vision, and they were just there not to spoil the party of Dreams FC, but to make sure that they've beaten them. And over the course of 90 minutes, it's not 90 minutes, they played the game with maximum additional time, about 10 to 15 minutes. And the coach of the side, John Eduafu, said qualify into the final because he pulled off brilliant saves after saves Mutala that afternoon. Dreams FC did all they could. All their strikers, they had the chances. But nations, trust me, they can hurt any team in the division.
And Mutala,
yeah, what made it so difficult was the fact that at this point, Dreams FC had just come out from the CAF Confederation Cup, so they had played a certain level of football, a very high level of football. So to come up against them and manage to win the game by 2-1, then you deserve some credit. It means that your team is very efficient.
I think it's one of the games this particular season. All the odds were for Dreams FC to get the needed qualification, but Bofoakwa Tano really surprised them. Even 48 hours before the game, I remember we speaking to the leaders of Bofoakwa Tano, and they were not even in the mood to travel to Sogakope to play that game because of issues between them and the organizers and the money they need to give them. They were looking for a bigger portion of the money before they moved to Sogakope, until later on Saturday they were able to move to Sogakope. So Dreams FC were motivated to qualify to the final, especially coming back from what they did in the interclub competition, being in the semi-final stage of the CAF Confederation, especially their game against Zamalek in Cairo when that game ended in a goalless draw, for them to be out in Kumasi. So it tells you they were there at that time, the informed team in Ghana. They were playing well with all these galaxy of players in the Dreams FC team who did well in the Confederations Cup. So everybody thought Dreams would like to go back into that competition again, and of course maybe to do better than what they did the previous season in the interclub competition. Only for Bofoakwa Tano, Saka Dauda, Emmanuel Kobi, and all these players making the trick against them at the Sogakope Sports Stadium. I agree with Francis Aboyibo on the Bofu team. They are very stubborn side. Team Aqua relegation there. He doesn't even fear doing anything. As the famous phrase from the Scarella head coach Abubakar Damba. A dying horse, always very powerful in the last minute, so you can do wonders in this kind of competition. So in Nsoatreman, they have quality players. They have one of the best coaches in the local scene. They are being motivated by the bank roller Ignatius Bafuewa and the general manager Eric Alajide to make sure they move them to the interclub competition, because they vote themselves and they are eager to get to that level. So it's going to be a big game at the Legon Sports Stadium. But I tip Nsoatreman to get the needed qualification, but it's not going to be an easy game against Bofoakwa.
So Nsoatreman also played Legon Cities in that second semi-final, and they won, and also have found themselves right here in the finals. That is the form guide of Nsoatreman also going into this one. Also started in the round of 64 where they beat Mana FC by 3-0 before getting a 1-0 victory over Victory Club in the round of 32. Then in the round of 16, he had a goalless between them and Bekum Chelsea, but they won 5-3 on penalties. Round of 8, that is the quarterfinal, saw them beat Karela by 1-0, and the round of 4, the semi-final, also saw them beat Legon City entities by 2-0. So that is how Nsoatreman managed to get to the finals of the MTN FA Cup. First time for them, and it's massive because at a point in the league, many were tipping them to win the Ghana Premier League. But they fell short and took their foot off the gas. They finished fifth in the league, which is not bad looking at the size of a club like Nsoatreman. But winning the FA Cup would be massive coup for them.
It will be a massive coup, and it will be extra motivation to get this over their Bono rival. Mutala, you see, the question is, if you put the permutations in its right places, Bofoakwa Tano and Nsoatreman were cruising. They were playing some fantastic stuff until both teams clashed at the home of Bofoakwa, where a whole lot of stuffs happened. Maxwell Konedu got heckled. He ended up at the hospital. After that, both teams never recovered. Hearts of Folk went to beat Nsoatreman in a manner that Nsoatreman made all the noises. But at the end of the day, both of them went their separate path, and they never got their earlier seasons back confirmed. They played twice in the league. Both games ended in a goalless stalemate. So this is the third time that they were playing against each other. And if you look at these two coaches, you look at Maxwell Konedu, with the caliber of team he's building, he's trying to build experience with youth. And if you look at these two coaches, they love to play free-flowing, expansive football, built from the base in a 4-3-3 formation with variations 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1, depending on what the opponent will bring to them. And if you look at who they've tried to build their teams around, you look at Saka Dauda. He is the one that John Eduafo loves to build his team around. Then you look at...
He's the talisman of the side.
He's the talisman of the side. You look at Nsoatreman as well. Then it's Omar Manaf, the former Hearts of Folk midfielder, who went to Real Tama United, gave a good account of himself, and they got him back. And you look at Janafaju, Votre, all these players, they've lighted up the league. And this is their biggest match so far of their career. And they love to stake a claim. You look at Sadat, Anoche. They have this is beautifully arranged in terms of branding. Everything is on point. You look at DU, and this is the arrival of the teams as well. So Nsoatreman, so far as it's Eric Alagidide, you see some touch of professionalism attached to the club, and that is what he has always preached. And I love his management style.
So Nsoatreman, this is how they made their way to the University of Ghana Sports Stadium there. In their bus in Nsoatreman FC, being led by the experienced Maxwell Konedu. He has seen it all as far as the MTN FA Cup is concerned. He knows what it means for a team to win the FA Cup. And these days, with the prestige attached to the MTN FA Cup, and it makes it more interesting because the winner of this competition will represent Ghana in the CAF Confederation Cup. And I'm sure the two teams will take a cue from the fact that Dreams FC had a good time on the African continent. They've actually announced themselves to the rest of the world that there's a team in Ghana called Dreams FC and they can do absolutely amazing things. So these teams will be looking at Dreams FC and looking at the cup in front of them and say that we wish we would also put our names on the map. So let's see how that one goes. So that is how the players arrived at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. The likes of Sadat, Mohamed, Philip Ofori, Manaf, Umar, the talisman, and Stephen D will all be in action. And today they will be counting a lot on that man, Manaf Umar.
Yes, Manaf Umar is a key player for Nsoatreman, the same as the winger who operates from the left side, Stephen D. He's one of the players most of the big teams are chasing for his signature in the local scene. So if Bofo want to be on some of these players in the Nsoatreman team, I think the likes of Stephen Dew, Manaf are key players to the Nsoatreman side. They've gotten a good season in the Ghana Premier League. They started well in the middle of the season, form never take away kakra. But getting to the later part of the season, Nsoatreman started picking form again in the Ghana Premier League. So they are on and off team in the Ghana Premier League, but I think Bofo will come good today, but I'm stepping in Nsoatreman to do well. When you look at how this team arrived at the stadium, they're also doing well in the Ghana Premier League. Of
course, so that is Bofoakwa Tano also, and how they made their way to the Accra Sports Stadium. Bofo are being handled by John at the Legon Sports Stadium. Bofo are being handled by John Eduafo, who has also, for some time now been in the Ghana football scene. He was the head coach of relegated Kotoku Royals last season. He took over for when Bofoakwa Tano lost their head coach, that is from Paul Manson, to BBN Gold Star. So this is how they also made their way to the University of Ghana Sports Stadium. They have been relegated from the Ghana Premier League, Francis, but this would be a massive statement for them should they win this one.
It's a massive statement.
Because to be relegated and have the opportunity of playing in the CAF Confederation Cup would be an achievement that would be a generational achievement. Generations will come in and have a look at this and what
you look at the coach, John Eduafo. He's in the mood. You saw him disembarking from the.
He's always a very confident.
He's in a suit today, properly dressed, and I was like, wow, this man is in the mood. But hey, Mutala, Bofoakwa is a very awkward team. They can be very stubborn. They can be very difficult to deal with, and I will never, based on what I have seen in the semi-final against Dreams FC, I will never sit here and say Nsoatreman are the favorites going into this game. If Bofoakwa can replicate exactly what they did against Dreams FC in Sugar Cup, then Nsoatreman will have to punch extra above their weight to be able to beat them this afternoon. Because if you see them, they are a properly well-drilled team. And in terms of the way they carry themselves, their strength is collectivity in terms of how they play as a team.
One of the problems I have with Bofoakwa is you don't know which Bofo side will turn up. On their day, they are superb. They can play some of the best football. But on their worst day, it's as if they've not even trained for years before coming into the game.
Yeah, it's all about the mood and the mental toughness of the players and how they approach matches. And the way they approach the Dreams FC game in the semi-final, you could tell that they were really fired up for it. Today, this would be the biggest match of each one of them. You win today, you take the club into Africa whilst you are in Division 1, and then it might change the transfer policy of the club, because basically if they are going to Africa, then there is no need releasing your top players, because this is the time you even need them most. It doesn't matter whether you are in Division 1. You need to keep your best players, Saka Dauda, Elijah Adayenko in the team to be able to get a proper team to represent the club in the African competition. See, but for John Eduafo, one thing I've realized about this team is when they are on the counter-attack, they open up, they have quick, pacey players. And with their strikers, they look awkward and they are very bulky, they are very strong in terms of their physique. You can't bully them off the ball. That is the strength of the team. And when they play, and you allow Saka Dauda in particular to have his game, then you are in trouble, because he has the ambient and the kind of big man temperament or mentality to be able to create something out of nothing. And that is the caliber of player they have. It's by no means flip the hearts of folk. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, all the big clubs are in one way or the other trying to lure him to their club. So this afternoon, if you look at what they are bringing to the board with John Eduafo's team, trust me, Bofoakwa Tano, the Hunters, they call them, they have a team that can trouble Nsoatreman over the course of the duration of this game, Mutala.
Now, Naneju, winning the FA Cup would be big for Bofoakwa and their players, but for the players themselves, it is also a form of exhibition, because they've been relegated, and most of them, with the reports coming through, might want to leave the club. So the likes of Dauda, Saka, Elisha, Dai, and all those players have an opportunity of also properly announcing themselves to other Premier League clubs.
Yes, it's the final push for you if you want your potential suitors and potential team that you want to go to know what you can offer them. There's a big platform for you to show what you can do for the club. Looking at the central defense, the midfield, and the attack, players who want to do well in this Bofoakwa Tano team, the various scouts and the kind of teams who are looking for some of these players, their service, need to prove a point today in a big game like this. So that is one motivation that will help this Bofoakwa Tano team against Nsoatreman in today's game. The same as the Nsoatreman team. There are other players, agents and football people who are looking up to their service to join other clubs in the Ghana Premier League. So they will all like to do well in today's game against Bofoakwa Tano. That is why I'm tipping this game, even though they are not powerhouse when it comes to Ghana football, but it's going to be an interesting game and a powerful game at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium, Mutala. Of
course, so there you have the two teams warming up for this one, and the game will kickstart in about some 27 minutes time. We will be at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium when the final whistle goes for the game to begin. Big one for both teams, especially the coaches Maxwell Kunedu and John Eduafo. Both will be eyeing at this one, because the winner of the MTN FA Cup will be representing Ghana in the CAF Confederation Cup. So it is not just about the prestige that comes with winning the FA Cup, but then having the opportunity of facing the likes of Zamalek. Last season we had Dreams FC playing Zamalek. Rivers United traveling to Nigeria, traveling to Tunisia and all that. I gives you that boost. I mean, you have the opportunity of traveling to play in some of the best stadiums around the world.
Yeah, you know, we met, Josiah and I met Coach Karim Zito at pitchside before their semi-final kickoff, and he said playing in Africa has opened his eyes to a whole lot of things. And he thinks Ghana as a country, we have to step up our game in terms of our infrastructure, the way we manage our football as well. And basically, it has opened up the players to the outside market. Playing in Africa puts you in that highest transfer market for your players. It opens up the club to the entire footballing world. And you can't take that kind of mileage away based on the fact that you are playing in the CAF Confederations or CAF Champions League tournaments. One thing for these two clubs is the highest they can achieve right now is to go into Africa by winning this particular competition. And this is the first time both clubs have found themselves in the final of the MTN FA Cup. So today, one of these teams will be writing their names into Ghanaian footballing history folklore. And that is how huge the incentive is. And you know, the FA has already stated that they are ready to support the clubs that will qualify to Africa. MTN has also pledged their support for the teams that will qualify to Africa. And corporate Ghana will come on board as well. So, in terms of sponsorship, just do your part of the bargain, win, and then the rest of the things will naturally come by itself to you. But before you do that, you have a 90 grueling minutes of football to play against your opponent here at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium this afternoon. It will not be easy. People might think it's not Hatchapok, it's not Kotoko, it's not Mediema. But, Mutala, I am telling you that based on what we have seen in the two semi-finals at the Coffee Wafer Park, these two clubs will not play it dull. They will not play it slow. They will play at quick interval. The pace will be electric. It will be superb. And it's going to be like a blockbuster box office kind of a football that will be played over 90 minutes. The most important thing, Mutala, will be discipline on the pitch over 90 minutes. Because a team in a derby that manages to keep its 11 players on the pitch stands a higher chance of winning the game. And in those games,
discipline is key.
Discipline is key. Because a red card will reduce your numbers. And when
in games like this, there's that
emotion.
It is heated, so emotions can override your sense or your senses. And before you know, you've been drawn or been swung by the emotion, and you get a red card. So whoever manages to be disciplined on the pitch has an opportunity.
And in derby matches, Mutala, the first goal, the team that scores the first goal always has a higher percentage of winning the game. Why? Because it gives you that kind of relaxation, the ambient to step down. Look, now the opponent has to overcommit, and when they commit, you can quick counter attack them and then get the better out of them. So the team in derby matches that mostly get the opening goal always stand a higher chance of winning the game. But these two teams, Mutala, we are in for a cracking game this evening.
Well, we are in for a cracking game, and the lineup of the two teams are out. I'll start with Nsoatreman because they have Daniel Afaju imposed for them. Isaka Mohammed is in there. Anoche Morrison is also starting. Sadat Mohammed, Neymar Walid, and the talisman in there. Manaf Umar Abdul is also starting for them. Eric Osei Bonsu, Maida Abdul is also in there. Stephen D. Mohammed Abdul Rahman, and Ransford Frimpong Asokwa is also in there. Then for Bofoakwa Tano, it is Emmanuel Kobe who is in post for them. Bright Boache is also starting. Ali Al Hassan, Emmanuel Ankra. Then we have Andrews Kwajo Apau started for them. Gerard Adozak is also starting for them. Isaka Dauda, that is Saka Dauda. Then we have Clinton Bafor, Richard Jiko. Then we have Mukurama also starting there. Mankorina, is also starting. And Emmanuel Pemboatin is also starting for them. So Nanedu line up in it couldn't have been better from both coaches. They are starting with their strongest of lineup. The likes of Saka Dauda starting for Bofoakwa, and of course Manaf Umar for Nsoatreman.
Strong lineup from both sides. Almost all the players who make a great impact this particular season, both in the FA Cup and in the Ghana Premier League, are starting for Bofo and Nsoatreman. So it tells you the mindset of the two coaches. Frimpong, Eduafo, and of course Maso Eknodu, the kind of approach they want to really go into this game. And Nsoatreman would like to do well and make sure they represent us very well in the Confederations Cup. Bofo would like to do something that, you know, Ghana football match by being a team relegated and of course winning the FA Cup. So they would like to do well, and a player like Saka Dauda will have to prove a point to the teams who are looking for a service as Asante Kotoko has, especially what I know, he could be one of the few first 3, 4, 5 signings for Asante Kotoko. The same as Imano Kobi. I understand, you know, Samates and of course Asante Kotoko has, they are looking for a service. So the likes of, you know, Samates are looking for a player like this, and they have great players in the team. Emmanuel, you know, Ankrat, all these players are players. They are looking for their service in the Ghana Premier League, the same as the players in the Nsoatreman team. So it's a big case for them to prove a point to the teams that they are looking for their service. And I think the final like this is an opportunity for you to explore, for everybody to see what you can offer when you move to the next club. Let's
see how things would go there, but I gave you the lineup of the two teams and they are ready for battle. But we need to take a quick break here on Start Times at the Channel 247. We return with more.
We've done it before, we've beaten them twice already, we've echoed them for the title, and they are coming with a certain level of vengeance, clearly. And what it means is that we need to double up and buckle up.
Played that game. If we play about 80-90% of that game today, probably we'll win at the end. And so it's a motivation to them, and it's a bigger platform for all the players to market themselves. And some of them, this is going to be their last time having this opportunity.
There is the coach of Bofoakwa Tano, that is John Eduafo. Watson. Then for Nsoatreman is Daniel Afaju, Isaka Mohammed, Anochi Morrison, Sadat Mohammed, Neymar Walid, Manaf Umar Abdul, Eric Osei Bonsu, Maida Abdul, Stephen D.U., Mohammed Abdul Rahman, and of course Ransford Frimpong. So it's that time we cross over to the University of Ghana Sports Stadium for the first 45 minutes of this game. It is Nsoatreman against Bofoakwa Tano. Your team of commentators are Nana Dakwa and Josiah Okokwe.
As scoring it off, it is Bofoakwa up against Nsoatreman. These two teams played in the Premier League. They couldn't cancel out each other, and they're in contention for the FA Cup title and an opportunity to represent Ghana at the next Cup Confederations Cup competition. My name is Nana Dakwa Jesse, together with Josiah Okokwe, were your commentators for this evening's big one here in Legon. Good evening, Joe.
Good evening, Nana Dakwa JC. Quite an electrifying atmosphere here at the University of Ghana Stadium. And just like you said, these two teams played in the 2023-2024 Ghana Premier League. Unfortunately, they just couldn't get the better of each other in those two games. But today, the trophy is on the line. A ticket to the CAF Confederations Cup next season is also on the line. And it means that the stakes are very, very, very high in this grand finale here.
And Nsoatreman are in green and yellow.